Hello, Tony. How are you?
Nancy, it's always good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. Long time no see.
Well, it's been about a year or so, but hey, congratulations on on Bloodline Detectives. I mean, it is just a fascinating show. Do you have an idea of why people love true crime stories?
Well, Tony, it's really interesting. We are asked quite often why the fascination in true crime. I don't know that it's voyeuristic or prurient. I don't think that. I think it goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden and Cain versus Abel, the first murder. We're still talking about it. People want justice. They want the bad guy behind bars. They want the victim or the victim's family to be vindicated in some way. And I think that's the interest in true crime. And very often, true crimes unfold like a puzzle. You have to put all the pieces together before you can clearly see the picture. And sometimes it's a mind twister. For instance, in Scott Peterson's case, he murdered Lacey and his unborn son, Connor. There's no question in my mind. But when you see Scott Peterson come into court or on TV, I remember him walking into the courtroom like a cocky football star, all puffed up in a designer suit, groomed to perfection, flanked by expensive defense attorneys. It was very hard to imagine, Tony, that this guy sitting there, some people, many people, not me, of course, but many people thought he was handsome with a college degree, a great family that had propped him up his whole life, the great golfer, beautiful home, lovely wife, a baby on the way, an awesome job. How and why could he commit a double murder? It was hard. It was like the mind was tricking the eye because you would hear evidence in court and you look at him and think, that's impossible. I didn't think that, but a lot of people did. I think that it's a puzzle and people want to solve the puzzle. They want justice, and very often a crime victim may remind them of someone in their family or their world, their sister, their mother, their cousin, their neighbor, their dad. And that pulls at a heartstring, and you want that person vindicated.
Yeah, I I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I also think it's how we tell the story. You are, because of your background as a prosecuting attorney and everything that you've done, you are a terrific storyteller as well, which captivates that audience.
Tony, I appreciate you saying that. And that means a lot to me because very often I remember arguing to appellate courts and Supreme Courts. And of course, I would know the law. But what would really matter is telling the story of a real victim, what really happened to them, and a fight, a quest for justice. And Tony, in so many cases, you never really get justice in that you
Mm.
can't bring the victim back. You can't mend a broken heart of a family who lost their loved one to violent crime, to murder. But you can get resolution. You can get answers. I think it's really important these stories be told to give other victims' families in cold cases hope. Hope that one day there will be answers. I mean, I know as a victim of violent crime myself, it's hard to move forward. And in my case, Tony, I knew who murdered my fiance. I was at the trial. I knew what happened. But can you imagine going your whole life? You can't move to the next step
Yeah.
because you're still stuck in truth seeking and trying to get justice. You can't mourn, you can't grieve, you can't move on to a new life because you're stuck, emotionally and mentally stuck. And these bloodline detectives give victims' families those answers.
Nancy, I love talking with you. Our time today is just too short. Congratulations on everything that you do, and I adore you.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Tony. Likewise, and I'll see you on Bloodline Detectives, Tony.
You will.
Streaming free.
Thanks, Nancy.
Bye, buddy.